From stories across the globe to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Sharifa Tahir.
A very good evening to you indeed. I am Shehara Herat. Now let's first have a look at the headlines for tonight. Preparations made to obtain a warrant for the arrest of High Court Judge Gihan Pilapitiya. Deputy Speaker stated that no voice recording has been tabled at the Parliament by MP Ranjit Samaranayake. 100 billion rupees to purchase paddy in the Maha season. The brother of former Minister Rishad Badruddin has been remanded till the 6th of February. UNP MP Sajid Premadasa decides to conduct a meeting with the local government representatives without the party leader Ranil Wickramasinghe.
We move on to those and other stories in detail now. The government has taken steps to issue loans worth 100 billion rupees for the purchase of paddy in the Maha season. Speaking at the Cabinet media briefing, Co-Cabinet spokesman Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that the loans will be issued for small and medium-scale rice mill owners under a concessionary loan interest rate of 8%. The Cabinet Ministers have granted approval for the national program to purchase paddy introduced by the Presidential Secretariat. The expected paddy harvest for the Maha season will amount up to 3 million metric tons. Purchasing of paddy will be carried out through Paddy Purchasing Board and district secretaries. The necessary quantities of paddy required for state institutions can be purchased directly to the institutions. The government has declared a guaranteed price rate for paddy. The purchasing rates per kilogram of paddy, according to paddy varieties, set to be gazetted in the near future. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that paddy harvest amounting up to 3 million metric tons worth $1.5 billion have been produced for this season. The minister said that according to the Vision to Prosperity National Policy Statement of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, a decision was reached to refrain from importing rice into the country under any circumstances, as many initiatives have been undertaken to improve the present production of rice and transform the country into a self-sufficient nation. He said that in the past there were protests organized by paddy farmers, stirred by paddy dealers, demanding to reduce the price rates of rice, which increases when the harvesting period reaches. He added that under these conditions, steps would be taken to import rice. The minister said that with the low price rates for rice, the paddy farmers will have to sell their products for a lesser price. He said that the government has managed to save up to $100 million by suspending the importation of rice. The Cabinet has granted approval for the program to recruit all graduates into state service by March. Applications can be handed over to respective divisional secretariats from March 1st. The new recruits set to undergo a 6-month training program for leadership and duties of employment. Accordingly, 53,000 graduates will receive employment opportunities. The Cabinet approval for the establishment of National Scientific, Technological and Innovation Authority has been granted. The enrollment to state universities is set to be increased by 20% from next year. The Cabinet approval has been granted to allocate financial provision of 1,912 million rupees to improve the infrastructure facilities of 8 universities. 13 projects will be initiated under this program. The proposal submitted to inaugurate branches of world-renowned universities according to the global university grading to attract foreign and non-resident Sri Lankan students for higher education in the country has been approved by Cabinet of Ministers.
And now the Attorney General has ordered the Colombo Crimes Division to obtain a warrant for the arrest of the interdicted High Court Judge Gihan Pilapitiya. The High Court Judge has been charged for engaging in a telephone conversation with parliamentarian Ranjit Samaranayake. Steps were taken to interdict him on this regard, and recently he was functioning as the Ambalipitiya High Court Judge at the time of his suspension. The Attorney General has instructed the Colombo Crimes Division to obtain technical evidence from the telecommunication service providers regarding the phone conversations carried out between MP Ramanayake and the 3 judges.
In the meantime, Deputy Speaker Ananda Kumarasiri says that parliamentarian Ranjit Samaranayake is yet to table any of the voice recordings to the parliament. Deputy Speaker Ananda Kumarasiri told the Parliament today that MP Ramanayake had not tabled the recordings as of Thursday morning. On a previous occasion, MP Ramanayake told the Parliament that he had tabled 15,000 recordings to the discretion of the Parliament. In the meantime, addressing the Parliament today, State Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe said that the previous government has not allocated provisions from the supplementary estimate to provide allowances for the year 2020. The State Minister made these remarks while responding to a query made by parliamentarian Anurag Kumara Dissanayake. He said that since the provisions for the first quarter for the year 2020 have been approved through an interim account, the financial provisions for the mentioned increase of pension payments have not been considered. Accordingly, he said that under the new government policy, the cabinet decision has been reached to suspend the implementation of state administration circulars until the pension anomalies are to be resolved in the upcoming budgets. He said that another cabinet decision has been reached to suspend the payment of 15,000 rupees worth allowance for executive grade officials in the public service. Top-level investors from Japan have shown their interest to invest in Sri Lanka. They informed on this regard during their meeting with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa held at the Temple Trees. Discussions were carried out regarding many prospective investment opportunities which can be initiated in Sri Lanka. One of the main aspirations of the President is to achieve 80% of the renewable energy requirement in the country by the end of 2030. The Japanese investors informed the Prime Minister that they can extend technological and financial assistance for the national program.
And now the government of Japan has extended a And meanwhile, the government of Japan has extended a grant aid for demanding project to build the livelihoods of the northern province under its grant assistance program for grassroots human security project. The signing ceremony of the grant contract was held at the official residence of the Japanese ambassador to Colombo today.
In the meantime, leader of the opposition, MP Sajith Premadasa, has decided to hold a meeting with the local government representatives of the United National Front without the participation of leader of UNP, MP Ranil Wickramasinghe. A media briefing on this regard was held at the parliamentary complex this evening. UNP parliamentarian Najit P. Pereira said that leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, has decided to convene the local government representatives and provincial council candidates of the United National Party and associated parties to the International Conference and Exhibition Centre on the 26th of this month at 2 p.m. He said that the electoral organisers, local government councillors and parliamentarians of the United National Party have also been invited for this meeting. Moving on to more stories from the local arena, Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne is ordered today to remand the brother of former Minister Rishad Badiuddin and former Northern Provincial Councillor Rifkan Badiuddin until the 6th of February. He was taken into custody for allegedly acquiring 40-acre land worth 24 million rupees belonging to another person in Thalemanna area under a false deed. The attorney representing the defendant informed the court that no evidence has been found to relate the involvement of his client on the offence. Therefore, he requested the court to release the defendant on bail. However, the CID mentioned that further investigations have been initiated in connection to the crime. The police requested to keep the defendant in remand custody until the completion of the investigation. A person claiming to be a notary and was in remand custody in connection to the incident was released on bail today. 28 defendants who have been charged for inflicting damages to Buddha statues in Mavanala area will continue to be remanded till the 3rd of February. The relevant order was issued when the defendants were produced before the Mavanala Magistrates Court today.
And now the government has decided to reconstruct the severely damaged North Kalutara-Kalido coastal line. Financial provisions of 900 million rupees has been allocated for the project. The Kalido coastal line is an attractive location while it contributes to the prevention of soil erosion. The coastal region was severely damaged in consequent to a heavy flood which occurred in 2017. The issues related to the fisheries and tourism sectors and the existence of coastal lines surrounding the Kalutara Bodhi continued to become critical with the devastation. The first phase of the reconstruction program was commenced yesterday. Accordingly, a stone barrier will be extended up to 30 meters towards the sea under the face of the project. State Minister Ranjit Samaranayake was also present at the occasion. And now moving on to local stories in detail. A French and Belgian media delegation has successfully completed their familiarization on tour in Sri Lanka recently. The objective of the tour was to showcase cultural and historical attractions of the country and to boost tourism of Sri Lanka. The tour was organized by the Conseil de Ceylon. The media delegation from France and Belgium consisted of 20 journalists representing 20 press and media enterprises and is the biggest media delegation to visit the country since the Easter Sunday attacks. During the 4-day tour, the participants explored the cities of Sigiriya, Kandy, Colombo and many other attractions. And the inauguration of the Computer and Language Center in Audangava was also held during the visit under the patronage of the French ambassador to Sri Lanka, Eric Lavertu.
The French market is always important to the Sri Lankan tourism, and we want to promote Sri Lanka tourism in France and other French-speaking countries. We have been planning this now with this present government. The president, in his manifesto, he planning to get 7 million tourists down to Sri Lanka within another 5 years' time, and also revenue of 10 billion Sri Lankan rupees. So it's very important we touch this European market. One thing that we lack is this direct connections, the flights. Now, since this Sri Lankan Airlines is in the same ministry, under the same umbrella, we have started the discussions with the national carrier and also with other private airlines to start this direct flight from Europe, at least a flight from Germany and France.
What is very important for us, because every country has its own strategy for developing tourism, because we work with a lot of different countries. Some of them, they open an office in France. It's very expensive. Others, they have a representative. Sure, it will be a very good opportunity to have a direct flight from Paris to Sri Lanka.
We've never really had in Sri Lanka a structured promotional campaign. We have to accept that. Consecutive governments really have never had it. This whole thing came into a lot of criticism only after the 21st of April. But in reality, we didn't have a proper organized 3 to 5 year plan. So now we have made the plan. Early hours of this morning, the plan was finished, put it this way. And it will be put to the board next week. And thereafter, it will go to the cabinet through the minister. The procurement process in Sri Lanka, the government institutions, is a challenge. We cannot be naive about it. We have to be conscious of the issues that we will face. With the support of the minister and the president, I hope that we will be able to go through this.
In the meantime, the Government of Canada has extended cooperation to further develop the freshwater fisheries industry in Sri Lanka. This was revealed during a meeting held between Canadian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, David McKinnon, and Minister Douglas Devananda yesterday. The meeting was held at the Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Ministry premises. The Canadian government has provided technological and financial assistance for the development of the fisheries industry in the country, thus far for which the minister extended the gratitude of the Canadian government on behalf of the Sri Lankan government. A special appreciation was directed on the Canadian government for the assistance extended for the demining processes and self-employment opportunities for women in Northern Province. The Canadian High Commissioner mentioned that
And now, Transparency International Sri Lanka has indicated that the new government has an opportunity to rebuild the public trust by driving necessary reforms to bring a significant change in the Corruption Perception Index. These indications were made in a media briefing in Colombo today.
Of the countries that have shown significant progress since 2012 on the Corruption Perception Index, 60% of those countries are countries which have enforceable campaign finance regulations. So this is a very important point in light of the fact that in Sri Lanka we are continuously talking about the need to address the challenges of campaign financing, the escalating costs of elections, other things which end up allowing for routes for different kinds of money to start mixing in with our domestic politics. There are ways in which we can start now addressing these issues around campaign finance. Maybe the window is too small before the upcoming election, but the importance of that can really be underscored even through the data that we're releasing today. So that is an encouraging thing. A final point that I will make is that in SAARC, Sri Lanka comes third, after Bhutan and India. But interestingly, across SAARC countries, there is a clear underperformance when it comes to the perceptions of public sector corruption. The only country that is actually doing well in SAARC is Bhutan. And Bhutan has a raw score of 68, which is 30 points ahead of Sri Lanka, which comes in third place. So we can see, interestingly, where the regional leadership is when it comes to tackling corruption and the public sector, the perceptions of public sector corruption. But it shows that there is work for us to do. There are opportunities ahead, but that at the moment, things are stagnant, and so we should really try and ensure that things move forward and get better. A significant change in the Corruption Perception Index is a change of 3 points. A very significant change is a change of 6 points. So ideally, we should be aiming for significant change next year.
Switching back to more local stories, the government of Japan has extended a grant aid for demining project to rebuild livelihood in the northern province under its grant assistance for grassroots human security project. The signing ceremony of the grant contract was held at the official residence of the Japanese ambassador to Colombo today. The grant contract was signed between Ambassador of Japan to Colombo Akira Sugiyama and the Program Manager of Delborn Assistance for Social Harmony. Japan has been a major donor in the area of mine clearance in Sri Lanka since 2003 through its grant assistance for grassroots human security project. This contribution has assisted to accelerate and facilitate the resettlement of agriculture and other livelihood activities of the internal displaced persons.
It is my great pleasure to ink the 10th grant contract for the humanitarian demining project implemented by DASH in northern Sri Lanka, made possible through Japan's grant assistance for grassroots human security projects, also known as GGP. Assistance by the government of Japan towards demining activities exceeds $37 million since 2003. And as Mr. Chandrasri kindly mentioned, Japan is the only country that supports all the 4 demining organizations currently operational in the country. This project, for which the grant contract was signed today, is expected to enable the resettlement of the displaced people and to enhance directly or indirectly more than 350 families' livelihoods in Kilinochchi, Mulaitiv, and Jaffna districts. The Sri Lankan government strives to achieve a mine impact-free Sri Lanka. This indeed is a huge accomplishment to clear more than 1,200 square kilometers of mine fields in just over a decade since the end of the conflict, to assisting the government of Sri Lanka's goal of achieving a mine impact-free Sri Lanka.
And now with that, we would like to conclude tonight's news bulletin live on Channel I. Do join us tomorrow at the very same time.
Have a pleasant night.